warn you, I will refer to you as Berkeley and Leander. I see you're both straight and ready. I will start you like this. Attention, go. Ready, please?
The Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup, University of California, Berkeley, United States of America versus Leander Club.
And I'll be interested to see how well these pairs are able to keep themselves on their stations coming off the line. I was actually on the water timing the Cal Berkeley crew yesterday. They ended up with a row over, and on that occasion they found it difficult to steer this early part of the course when there was only one crew in there. Today they've got this crew from Leander alongside them, and actually they've made a beautiful job. So there's me dissing their steering, and they've done a beautiful job of getting away really nicely despite the strong headwind. Perhaps yesterday they started on the Buckinghamshire station. They wanted to try out the Berkshire station because they knew it was what they were going to be having today, and that's why they went across the course yesterday. That was yesterday. This is today. Top of the island, Leander, 3/4 of a length lead.
Is this what you expected to see in this morning's race, Greg?
Yeah, well, this is a good pair from Leander. They were third in the GB Pairs Trials. So here they are, trying to handle this headwind, trying to handle those bumps, as we see Sophia Heath in the stroke seat, Anna Campbell-Orde behind her. And yeah, just trying to stay clean. But, you know, in a women's pair, in a single scull, in a double scull today, it's going to be tricky, it's going to be bouncy, and it's going to need all your boat skills to try and stay clean, which Leander Club are showing. Cal Berkeley to the left of our shot, really perfectly steering today when they need to, sticking to that Berkshire station. But they want to hold this distance now. They want to stop this getting any bigger because the crews are just going to be getting into their pace. Going past that 1/4 mile, it's about a minute in, and they don't want this gap to keep getting bigger.
This crew from Leander Club, Campbell-Orde and Heath, leading a very strong pair from the United States of America. The woman in the bow seat, Fien van Westreenen. She's actually from the Netherlands, 2021, under 23 and 2019 junior world champion in the double sculls, but studying at Cal Berkeley. She's from Amsterdam and she's majoring in cognitive science and psychology, and it's her first time competing at Henley.
And you could see on the graphic, and you can see it in this picture, that there's very little to choose between these crews now that they're into their racing speed. So the crew from Cal Berkeley should be heartened by that, but you can see them just going into that gust of wind across the water, and they're going to have to just try and keep moving. We've seen it, anything could happen here in these conditions. Leander Club will want to stay calm, they want to stay clean, coming towards the barrier, which is that first official timing marker.
Slow, tough conditions in the pair today. That is a strong, gusty head breeze. It's going to be a long race for these women. And the gusts make it really difficult, don't they, Greg? You've spent quite a bit of time in the pair yourself, and the bumpy, gusty conditions, really tough when you have only one oar each.
Yeah, they certainly are. You've got to rely on each other. You're balancing the boat, and you've only got control of half of it, so clearly you need to be synchronized with your buddy. But in this, sometimes their blade is going to get blown, it's going to hit a wave. So trying to move well with them is all the more difficult in these conditions. And I think Cal Berkeley have gone for a little bit of a move here, just taking stroke rates on them. They're pushing 34 strokes a minute. Leander had settled down something more like 33, maybe even 32. I was getting it at times. So I'm wondering whether what's going to be the best tactics. It certainly feels like Cal Berkeley on the right have stayed with Leander, and yeah, wondering whether when we get our next shot from alongside they will have managed to get an overlap. I actually don't think they will quite. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, it still looks as though Leander Club on the left-hand side of your screen has a clear water lead over the crew from Cal Berkeley.
But as we know, it is a long race. They're still in this big empty patch where the crews go away, the bank goes away, so you feel quite solitary out in the pair in the middle of the course right now. So it's just focusing in, as we've said, the combination, the relationship with your pairs partner, so important right now, the trust in each other, to just keep churning out the same strokes, and to keep that keep the movements the same, the application of the forces the same through this quiet, empty part of the course, if you like.
And we know that the standard of the pairs that one of these crews will meet tomorrow is going to be exceptional. A bit later on this morning, we're going to see the other round of this event. Megan Musnicki and Jess Morrison of Australia. Megan Musnicki of the United States, rather, and Jess Morrison of Australia up against the Australian pair of Mitchell and Gleeson.
Yes, there's plenty of quality in this event. Just taking a look here. They're still keeping it ticking along, and you can see from that gap there is still clear water that we're getting for the Leander crew in front of us, Campbell-Orde and Heath. They had a close race yesterday. They timed their effort extremely well, and here they are today, managing to get control of it, and then probably just hoping this crew from Cal Berkeley is going to go away and not keep putting pressure on them, but they will, because as you say, there's going to be another semi-final with tough competition for whichever one of these crews make it through to the final tomorrow.
And it looks like the crew from Cal Berkeley there just struggling a little bit with their steering. Totally understandable under these conditions. It's not easy out there, especially in these smaller boats, but a very commanding lead we can see from this angle. Currently with Leander Club, Campbell-Orde and Heath, and I'd be surprised if we see any change to this down the remaining few hundred metres on the course.
Yeah, Sophia Heath in the stroke seat. She coaches the Marlow Junior program, and she's so pleased to see so many young women coming through into the sport, and she's looking to inspire them, sitting in the stroke seat there, Sophia Heath. Annie Campbell-Orde behind her, and they've just had a really controlled race here, but actually they've just stuck to their station, they've stuck to their guns, kept their rate pretty steady when Cal Berkeley tried to make a move on them, which I think was the right thing from Cal Berkeley before halfway to throw everything into that second quarter. It wasn't enough to get them back at that stage, as we see a bit of a big steering correction from the Leander crew, probably buffeted by the wind and bringing them slightly into the middle of the course here.
So moving right over into the centre of the course here, we might see a correction from the umpire. We have seen Andy Crawford there, the umpire, put up his flag, steering Leander back over to their side of the course. That's a big correction to be needing to make. A little bit cheeky moving into the middle of the course.
Yeah, it was just after I said they'd stayed on their station, been really calm and quiet, and just brought the boat down the buck station. They probably got blown by a gust of wind that pushed them towards the middle. But I think they've done the right thing, getting themselves back onto station now. There's still work to be done as they're just coming into sight of our commentary position, passing the mile and 1/8, and still just moving really smoothly and nicely, probably enjoying this slightly quieter water in the steward's enclosure.
So we'd expect this crew from Leander, a little bit older, bit more experienced. Sophia Heath, 25 years of age, 182 centimetres against the two students from University of California, Berkeley rather, 21 and 22 years of age respectively. Crew from Leander looking very strong, confident here. Clear water lead. They now just need to get down past the steward's enclosure without any major mishaps, and they'll be progressing through to tomorrow's final.
Yeah, there's a calmness and control now in that Leander boat, about 28 strokes a minute. So they've been able to control it all the way along the enclosures. Cal Berkeley threw everything they could at them in the second quarter, but they couldn't re-establish an overlap. They couldn't get into really bothering this crew from Leander, who then just had to remain businesslike as they've done, coming now towards the line. As we've got this camera on the finish line, we're going to see Leander leading Cal Berkeley across the line.
in the Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup. It was the crew from Leander Club, Campbell-Orde and Heath, defeating the crew from the University of California, Berkeley, Ahyi and Westreenen.
And this crew will row back to Leander Club, having done a very professional job where they can rest up, watch the other semi-final, and then start getting in the mood for Henley Finals Day tomorrow.